for the report card. Let's see what the editor's given me. Enjoy this, don't you? I enjoy doing it as well. I've got 8 names. 3 South Africans, 5 Indians to work on. So let's start with the 3 South Africans first of all. What have I got first up front? Quinton de Kock, what a century in Visakhapatnam. And you thought, right, great season for the Mumbai Indians. Quinton de Kock's going to do really well. His century was probably the best South African innings of the tour. And then Quinton de Kock went downhill and downhill and downhill, and in Ranchi he just plummeted. It was the end of the series. So in spite of probably the best South African innings, I'm giving Quinton de Kock 5 for the series. Some of you might even give less, but 5 for that 100. Then Faf du Plessis. He actually played 2 good innings, one in Visakhapatnam, one in Pune. Faf looked good. He was wasting himself down at 5, and then he came up at 4, and maybe there was a jinx with the number. Bavuma at 4, no runs. Faf goes up at 4, no runs. But Faf was also the captain, and sometimes you got the feeling that he knew he was playing with limitations, but you didn't get the feeling that South Africa was there and saying, right, let's make the most of what we have. So what did Faf do in this series? He averaged 23.66. For the best batsman in this side, that was just not good enough as a captain. 4, Faf. When you come for CSK, we'll do better than that. But for the moment, 4. Then Kagiso Rabada. He had a disappointing game in Visakhapatnam. Everyone's talking about the arrival of Archer and Cummins and Bumrah and Wagner and all these good fast bowlers around the world. What does Rabada do? Bowled well in Pune, didn't get a lot of support, and I thought he produced one of the performances for South Africa with that outstanding opening spell in Ranchi. His figures aren't great. You're looking at Kagiso Rabada, 7 wickets for the series at 40.71. He's a better bowler than that, but I don't think he had support. If Philander and Ngidi and Nokia had done better, I think he would have got more wickets too. I'm going 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6 for Kagiso Rabada. Now let's go with the 5 Indians. Let's start with Ravichandran Ashwin. Don't go by what you saw in Ranchi. He had a poor game in Ranchi. Everyone has poor games from time to time, but I thought on the slowest surface of all, which required the maximum amount of skill, Ravichandran Ashwin took 7 wickets in that first innings in Visakhapatnam. He still finished as India's leading wicket taker, and that tells you a thing about great bowlers. You might think they were not at their best, and they still are the leading wicket takers for your team in the series. So for Ravichandran Ashwin, 7 out of 10 for this series, and not more only because he struggled a little bit in Ranchi. So that was Ashwin. Now, who else do we have? Ravindra Jadeja. I think the plan is very clear. Jadeja is now seen as a proper all-rounder. He kept being moved up to 6. Quick runs were needed when Hanuma Vihari was playing. He came down, but every time it was Jadeja at 6, ahead of Ashwin, ahead of Saha. He produced some good performances when the quick runs were required, when he had to hang in, he hung in there. And I thought in Ranchi, he looked the most dangerous of all the spinners. So his numbers are very interesting, by the way. Here's look at Jadeja. He 212 runs at 70.66. and 13 wickets. He had a magnificent series. Ravindra Jadeja gets 8 out of 10 in my book. Now, who do we have next? We've got 2 more Indians, 3 more in fact. Here's Ajinkya Rahane. I was very, very happy with what Rahane did. A little failure in the first innings in Visakhapatnam, but then when India were looking for a declaration, 27 of 17, he played reverse sweeps, he did it all. I was mighty impressed in Pune because 200 for 3 was still a good position, but with the new ball doing things, he had to ensure that there was a bit of protection for the lower order. Virat Kohli got 200, but he really held one end up. That was a really good innings, and I thought his century in Ranchi was the most fluent I have seen him play. Came in at 39 for 3 and took away the game in the first hour after lunch when South Africa won their only session, and that was largely Rahane. Rohit dug in, got the big double, so I'm actually going to give Ajinkya Rahane 8 out of 10. Then Mohammad Shami. I don't know what happened in that first innings in Visakhapatnam. There was a guy who looked like Shami, who was just wandering around the ground, and then the real guy turned up. And once the real guy turned up, he showed his great value. He had support from Umesh Yadav, he had support from the spinners, but took 13 wickets in Ranchi. He was magnificent. The seam coming out beautifully, the short ball well, the lengths fantastic. Mohammad Shami gets 9 out of 10 for me in this series, which leaves one with Rohit Sharma. I'm not even looking at the numbers. Gone. Don't need to look at the numbers for Rohit Sharma. I know he got a century in each innings, then he got a double, moved up to open the batting. Big question mark, what is Rohit Sharma going to do? and he played himself in. But the best part of the innings, and there's two that I'm going to talk about, was when he took on the bowling once he was set. And that is what great players do. Once they're set, they grab the match and take it away from the opposition. And Rohit Sharma did that thrice in the series. And then on a little spicy encounter in Ranchi, he left and he left and he left. Played and missed a little bit, that happens to everybody, but showed enormous composure. And once he was in, he'd seen Virat Kohli get a double, he'd seen Mayank Agarwal get a double. Once he was in, went on to get a double century, 9.5 out of 10 for Rohit Sharma. There you are. Wonderful series from India's point of view, and so many great performances.